Hello and welcome to the Eugene Tordo YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, please go down there, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you like the videos and see more. And those who've subscribed so far, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Before I start the video, I'm going to first say that Super Clean sent me an email asking if I wanted to do a free giveaway on my YouTube channel. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I haven't decided how to do it. So if you want, leave comments below how you think I should do that. And I don't know. I think I might just pick a name out of a hat, and stick all the subscribers' names in the hat or something and pick them out somehow. And do it that way or something. But I'll get back to you with what's going to go on with that. You'll get some free Super Clean products. I've been having good success with it. In fact, I'm going to go over that here right now. Let me unmount this camera and I will show you a little bit closer up. And I cleaned the intake manifold with it, and it did a really good job. I sprayed it on. I used the pump foaming applicator this time, and that worked really well. And I just sprayed it on. I didn't take a brush or anything to it, and hosed it off. Now, one of my subscribers commented about about not using it on aluminum. You can use it on aluminum. You can see I used it on this intake. You got to be careful if you do it on a polished aluminum or an uncoated aluminum surface, it will etch it. So you have to be careful there. You might be able to see in here, like inside the intake where I ported it, there's like a light film on there. If you got a polished aluminum, it will like etch it and you'll have to repolish it. And I might try it, but if you were to take a block of raw aluminum and stick it in that solution and let it soak for like a week, see what will happen to it. So maybe I'll do that, but that's something you shouldn't do with pretty much a lot of products. You got to be careful what reacts with it. But I'm going to get back to today's subject, which is gaskets for the TPI tune port intake manifold that GM used from, I believe it was 85 to 91 on the C4 Corvettes. They used them on the Camaros. I don't know what other vehicles they used them on. They used them on, I believe, the Firebirds in that time period. I'm not sure what years. Any of you third-gen people out there watching this, please comment below, because I don't know everything. But today's video is basically a gasket warning. And what you have to be careful is, like say you get these Mr. Gasket ones, I'll leave a link to them down in the description box down below. And you have to be careful with them. And I'm going to show you here in a second. Just let me get set up. Okay. Here I have AS&M large tube intake runners for tune port. And they were measured just under, just barely under 1 3/4 inch, or 1 750 thousandths. So the stock ones, they measure, I think it's 1/4.5. So I don't know if you can see that, but that's how much of a difference is. Stock ones I have in the basement, but I'll show you the gaskets here in a minute, and I'll show you what the problem is here also. If you use the Mr. Gasket, gaskets, they come in, Mr. Gasket has these in different sizes. And these, I believe they advertise them as 1.75, but as you can see, they're a lot bigger. And they seal fine, but what you have to worry about is if you port match your gaskets to these gaskets, the ports are going to be way too big. So you have to be very careful about that. Also, always make sure that you check the gaskets line up with the openings on these tune ports. If you're going to port like the base, I ported my base. I'll try and get a closer up view of that right now. Just give me a couple of seconds. Okay, this is what I'm going to show you right now. If you look at these runners, And if I were to port these runners, or the manifold, the base manifold, I'm sorry, hopefully you guys can see that. See how much bigger these are? So if you're going to do a port to these gaskets, you're going to be a lot bigger than the runners. Now you could get away with that on say there are different types of TPI runners. There's ones that are cast. I think if you can get them, there's the Edelbrock, there's SLC, I think it is, and there's XL. Usually if you can get a hold of them, they're used. Every now and then they come up in the market. They're usually expensive, and you could match them because there's probably enough material. I never worked with them, so I don't know, that you could match those. Now, one thing you got to worry about with the Mr. Gasket gaskets also is like these two gaskets come out of the box exactly the same. You could use it either here on the very front ports on the passenger side or the very rear ports on the driver's side. However, if you use it the way it comes out of the box, it doesn't clear that hump right there, and the bolt holes don't line up. So you do have to, before you go, you just have to trim it a little. It doesn't take much, and voila, there it is. You just take a little bit. I'll hold up the gaskets, and hopefully you guys see that. See how much I trimmed? Just maybe 1/8 of an inch or something there with a pair of scissors. That's all it took. There's also a couple others I got to trim too. I forgot which ones, but just always test fit your gaskets before you put them on, and make sure they match your runners and your plenum and your base. So that's my gasket warning. Now, another tip I have is for the gasket on a distributor. Now, this isn't a Mr. Gasket one. This is the one that came in the Felpro kit when I replaced the intake gaskets. I always put just a little dab of RTV on the distributor. I just put 4 little dabs all around the base. One there, one there, one there. Then I put the gasket on, and I spin it around back and forth to work the silicone around and put it on. And I do that so this is whenever you take the distributor in and out, the gasket stays to the distributor and doesn't stick to the manifold base. Or it just makes it a lot easier to take the distributor in and out. It's just a lot better way to do it, in my opinion. And let me see, what else do I got to go over here? A lot of people like to have different methods of applying these gaskets. I have heard of people putting wax on them. I have heard of people putting lip balm on them, which is basically a type of wax or Vaseline. You could do that. You could put Vaseline. You could use, I'll show you what I use on this gasket. This is actually a gasket from that comes stock. Well, it comes with the BBK. They always say use this gasket, so that's the gasket I use. And you can see I got anti-seize on it, and that's probably what I'll do with these gaskets. And the reason you want to do that is if you ever have to take them off, you don't want to use a sealer, a permanent sealer like RTV or anything like that. If you do that, you got to go take those runners off. You're probably going to have to pry them apart, and they'll probably damage the runners. They damage very easy, whether it's the factory ones or like these ASMM runners, large tube runners. So be very careful there when you do that. Remove these. You don't want to pry them. They should just come right off. I have heard of people using Permatex. Permatex, in my opinion, even though it's non-hardening, it does get real tacky. And definitely the Permatex number 2 will actually kind of get hard. It's not true hardness. It's like you can peel it off, almost like RTV. And then there's the fuel-resistant Permatex gasket dressing. I've heard of people using this, but this stuff will get pretty hard too. So I'll stick with the good old anti-seize, even if it does get anywhere. I'll spread that on the gaskets before I put them on, and it makes them come off and on easier, and etc., etc. Now, that's all the tips I have for this. If you haven't been following my projects, the reason I took the intake off was to seal the china wall in the back. Hopefully this time it fixed it. This time I used the Permatex Right Stuff that sets up in 90 minutes. I was going to use the gaskets, the cork gaskets. Not too Slim Jim. One of the subscribers recommended that. And I decided, yeah, I'm going to try that Permatex Right Stuff on it. And I cleaned all the surfaces up, put it on. It should work. And if it doesn't, well, I'll regret it, or I might not, because I'm thinking of refreshing this motor next winter. If you don't know anything about this motor, I'll leave a link up there. It's a 383, a mild 383. And I still got to put the headers back on. Those are back from the recoder I sent them to. I have a video on that if you haven't seen it. It should have came out before. I should have publicized it before I put this video on. And I'm thinking of doing a video on the injectors, how to test your injectors, a method of testing your injectors that it tells you how to do it in your factory service manual. So if I'm going to do that, I'll do that now. In case you've never done one of these intake manifolds, there's a lot to take off and put on. That being said, if you want, you could do it in a day easily. Just keep track of everything. And, you know, if you're not sure what you're doing, just take your time. I'm taking my time. Like, I took this off, manifold off, I think last weekend. You know, and I had a lot of other things to do besides make videos and running around and stuff. But you could just do the whole thing in a day. There's some other videos on there that go into it more in depth. Make sure you follow the torque sequence from your factory service manual. Here's a picture of it, in case you've never seen it before. And they get torque to 35 foot-pounds, except numbers 1 and 4. 1 and 4, which are these two right here, get torque to 45 foot-pounds. Now, why do they get torque to 45 foot-pounds? I have absolutely no idea. The casting is a little thicker there, but that's a leftover. This casting here is leftover. There's nothing there, actually, from back in the days when they used to port the exhaust gases right from the exhaust port through the cylinder head into the intake manifold for the EGR. On my year Corvette, they don't do that. The EGR actually comes from that port right there, goes to a pipe and down to the exhaust manifold. So I don't know why they insist on doing that, or it says that in the service manual, but in a 90 Corvette service manual, that's what it says to do. Personally, you could just torque them to 35 foot-pounds just like the rest. Just make sure you do them in sequence. Now, it doesn't say to do them in steps. It just says 35 foot-pounds. I like to do 15 foot-pounds, go around, do them at 35 foot-pounds. Then after I do them, I'll go around and do them one more time, 35 foot-pounds. And usually when I do that, those bolts, in this case I'm using Allen heads, stainless steel Allen heads, will move a little bit. So it's a good idea to do that. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for watching. Like I say, stay tuned to my channel. Either just check back or subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave comments, all that good stuff. And see other projects. Most of them are about the C4 Corvette, but not everything. Some are about, like, this vise here. I'll leave a link up there to that. And some other shop projects that I'll probably be doing in the future. But I want everybody to have a good day, and God bless.